The LG Gram 14 is an impressive laptop and strongly represents the sub-1 kg, 2.2 lbs class. In 2022, the compact 14-inch laptop receives an upgrade to the Core i5-1240p and, finally, a matte display, both of which we will review in detail. Last year's 2021 model, based on the Core i7-1165G7, received an excellent score of 88% in our review. Now, LG has released its promising successor. The main differences and improvements are a matte display, which still uses the 16:10 aspect ratio in a resolution of 1920 by 1200 pixels, still only 60 Hz. At least on paper, the CPU upgrade looks huge as well. Instead of a quad-core Intel Tiger Lake chip, the 2022 model uses the 12-core Intel Alder Lake Core i5-1240p. The remaining specifications of the Gram 14 Z90Q are less interesting. 16 GB of RAM and a 512 GB NVMe SSD are equally standard at the $1,000 price point. The device starts from about $1,080. Finally, Windows 11 Home is the operating system of choice. Visually, not much has changed in terms of the case. However, LG now uses a more delicate font for the key legends and a rubber bar instead of round rubber feet on the back of the case to improve the stability. The build quality of the new chassis is excellent. Although the surfaces, which consist of a magnesium alloy according to the manufacturer, feel more like plastic than metal, the Gram 14 looks fairly premium. That being said, users should not expect too much in terms of the rigidity. Under a moderate amount of pressure, both the center of the keyboard and the touchpad area yield noticeably. Similarly, the lid is not very resistant against twisting attempts from the corners. Regardless, most users should still regard the rigidity as still acceptable for a laptop this thin. The design of the Gram 14 warrants no criticism. The thin look, height of just 16.8 mm or 0.62 in, small bezels, decisive desync language, and the white color scheme make the 14-inch device very attractive. The port selection is similar to that of the previous model. While an audio jack, an HDMI output, with an unspecified version, and two USB 4 Type-C ports with power delivery and DisplayPort or Thunderbolt 4 occupy the left side, a microSD card reader, two traditional USB 3.2 Type-A ports, and a Kensington lock are located on the right. Since the ports are near the back on both sides, there should be no interfering cables when using an external mouse. The performance of the card reader is fairly average. At almost 70 megabytes per second when transferring photos, one might confuse our test device with the Lenovo IdeaPad 5 Pro 14. Only the Dell Latitude 7420 is able to significantly outperform its peers, almost 200 megabytes per second. An Intel module handles wireless networking. In combination with our new ASUS reference router, for which we do not have results from competitors, the Wi-Fi 6EAX211 reaches an excellent range. A transfer rate of 1,700 megabits per second when receiving data from a distance of 1 m, 3.28 feet, warrants no criticism. Please subscribe to my channel